We were here in the summer of '62. At that time, we had not heard of a place called Nam. We didn't know about a war in which an AK-47 would play a prominent role. We were worried more about who we were going to date that weekend and how we avoided getting in trouble. And after all, we completed plebe year, where you just go through each day hoping to do what they tell you to do and no one gets mad at you. And we were back here as yearlings. Some of them, and I won't name which ones, even were planning retribution at the new plebes when they came back in, so when they got back to basic. But we came in here filled with the innocence of young teenagers. We talked about rank, riches, accolades, honors. Those were the things that we thought mattered at the time. Now we're here, and we know that that's not true. The thing that matters, when too often we gather at the cadet chapel, and the silent shuffling of feet and whispered salutations and questions of how are you, as we say goodbye to a friend and classmate. We know at that time the only thing that matters is that in the words of the Cadet Prayer that we can gather and say about a friend, well done, be thou at peace. And now the class that we're here to celebrate with is gathering. The difference is we didn't have a war that anybody knew of. You have a war that has been going on for 10 years. That same AK-47 that haunted each and every one of us when we did go to Nam haunts you today. Our September had not yet come when one man would take a young aspiring president from our midst. A man who asked us to believe in each other and to believe in the phrase, he ain't heavy, he's my brother. It took one crazy man under the payment of a group from the Soviet Union to eliminate that young man. Today we have a young president who is winding down a war that we hoped would end all these types of engagements, the types of engagement that you have been trained for this summer, the types of engagement that all the men and women in this room wearing the Ranger tab personify. But unfortunately, we know that's not true. We know that all those things that we have been taught, the values we believe in, are not shared with other people in other lands, where there's always a shortcut to power and a shortcut to success. So when you gather here today to get these awards, remember it's not the plaque or the flag or the trophy that you received. It's the accolades, the respect, the statement of well done that you received from your classmates. And as you're about to assume that role of NCOs within the Corps of Cadets, remember what the NCOs are. I had the privilege of going through Ranger School between my years at Stanford. So that meant I didn't go through with any West Point graduates. I went through with all NCOs. And if you've ever served in a unit with nothing but NCOs, you realize the treasure, the power of the United States Army comes from that vertebrae called the non-commissioned officer. They are the ones that train and lead and teach the soldiers how to respond to the officer's requests and demands. It is that person, called a first sergeant, who will take the company commander aside and teach him or her the right way to do things. They are the people due the respect that you feel today for having received those awards. Without them, there's nothing to this Army. The backbone would be gone. My first sergeant told me the day after we had completed our battle, March 18th, 1968, and we were both on the top of a talk in the highlands, looking at the sky. He looked at me with tears in his eyes. He said, "Sir, I train those kids to be the very best they can be, but I never have to look one of them in the eye and say it's your time. That, unfortunately, sir, is your responsibility." That first sergeant taught me both the privilege and the burden of command. And without him, I would have been lost. So as you step forward in the Corps of Cadets to assume this role of non-commissioned officer, I That's your job, to take those plebes and teach them how to become cadets, so that one day, in another place, in another spot, in another time, a non-commissioned officer of the United States Army can take that young second lieutenant that you trained as a plebe and teach them how to be an officer. So today I want to say congratulations to each and every one of you. I would ask that you remember the phrase, well done. Seek not rank, seek not riches, seek not accolades. Hope only that when your course is run, your classmates will gather and say, well done. God bless you all.